Min had always lived in the peaceful countryside, where the mornings were filled with birdsong, and the evenings brought a quiet stillness that wrapped around her like a soft blanket. But life had its twists, and when Min got a job in the bustling heart of the city, she found herself leaving her hometown and moving into a small apartment on the 8th floor of a high-rise building. It was her first time living alone, and the change felt as overwhelming as it was exciting. Her new apartment was cozy but modest, a single room with a small kitchen and a view of the city's skyline. On her first night there, Min lay in bed listening to the unfamiliar sounds of the city, the distant hum of traffic, the occasional siren, and the soft thud of footsteps in the hallway outside her door. The city's endless energy buzzed all around her, and she wondered if she'd ever grow accustomed to it. The following morning, Min decided to explore her new surroundings. She took the elevator down, passing neighbors who gave her quick nods or brief smiles, each one seeming absorbed in their own lives. At the building's entrance, she noticed a bulletin board cluttered with notes, flyers, and announcements. Her gaze fell on a brightly colored poster advertising a community potluck scheduled for the weekend. It promised an evening of food, music, and a chance to meet neighbors. Min hesitated, unsure if she should attend. She didn't know anyone yet, and part of her felt nervous about stepping into a room full of strangers. But the thought of spending another evening alone in her apartment made her decision for her. On the night of the potluck, Min prepared one of her favorite dishes from home, a bowl of sweet rice with coconut milk and mango. She arrived in the building's common room to find the space bustling with people and filled with the delicious aroma of homemade food. Nervously, she placed her dish on the table and stood to the side, observing the lively scene around her. Just as she was about to retreat back to her apartment, a cheerful voice called out to her. "Is that sticky rice with mango?" asked a woman about her age, smiling warmly. "I haven't had that in years. I'm Lynn, by the way." Min smiled back, grateful for the friendly gesture. Lynn introduced her to a few other neighbors, and soon Min found herself laughing and sharing stories with people from all walks of life. There was Mrs. Hoa, an elderly woman who lived down the hall and enjoyed gardening on her balcony, and Tan, a young musician who often played guitar late into the night. Min realized she wasn't alone in her search for connection, and that, like her, many others had moved here in search of new beginnings. Over the weeks that followed, Min's life in the apartment building began to feel more comfortable. She started running into her neighbors in the hallway, sharing small conversations and laughter. She would often pass by Mrs. Hoa's balcony garden and stop to admire the blooming flowers. Sometimes she'd hear Tan's guitar from her window, and the gentle music would remind her that she was part of a community. One evening, Lynn invited Min over for tea, and the two of them spent hours chatting and sharing stories about their childhoods. As Min sipped her tea, she realized how much her life had changed since moving here. She was no longer just a girl from the countryside. She was part of something larger now, a small but supportive community in the heart of the bustling city. Each day brought new challenges, new surprises, and new friendships. Min's life was different, but as she looked around her small apartment with its view of the city lights, she felt a warmth in her heart. She knew she had made the right choice, and her apartment, once a place of loneliness and uncertainty,